Well, many of us have mixed beds of both annuals and perennials in the landscape. And we do that for a variety of reasons. One is, of course, to fill in an area. Another more important reason, perhaps, is to have some season-long color. And that's what we've got here in this bed. This is a bed that gets morning shade, but really hot afternoon sun. So I need to have plants that can stand both of those conditions. And today, as we get later into the summer, and I see some of these annuals particularly beginning to look kind of tired and worn, I know it's time to kind of give them a boost so I can continue to have season-long color until at least frost and keep this bed going and looking very, very good. So today I'm just doing some renovating on this particular bed. I'm taking out all my old larkspurs because they really have faded down. And then I'll be coming in and cleaning up these petunias and maybe even giving some of my perennials that are in here a little haircut as well. Because as we get into this time of the year now, the petunias are really beginning to get leggy. You'll notice that they're not blooming quite as well. And while they really thrive in the heat, they still need a little bit of care, particularly this late in the season. So in these petunias, although it kind of might pain me to do it somewhat, I'm going to give them a good haircut. See, I've already got some that are beginning to die back simply because probably of the hot weather and that they perhaps dried out a little bit. So I'm going to come in and just clip all of these back 3 or 4 inches from the top. Get rid of all those old flowers that are on there now. Maybe leave just a few for color, but for the most part just come in and really clean this up good. And as a result of that, then when I do a little bit of feeding and watering of this petunia plant, it's going to come back and really put on some new growth and some nice new flowers for the remainder of the season, and really will make a nice looking plant here throughout the season. So after I've done that, and I'll go ahead and do that probably to all of my petunias in here a little bit later on, then I want to come in and give them some fertilizer of some type. Now I've got a couple of types of fertilizer that you can use because they do need a boost. This is a slow release fertilizer that you can get. It's a very user-friendly fertilizer, I would say, because you can buy this already ready to go with a little shaker on it and just simply shake that around that plant, give it a good dosing of it, and I'll come back and I'll do my entire bed like this to give it a little boost, a little bit of a feed. Now after that, I want to come in also and do some mulching of my bed. On this particular bed here, in the past we've had a mulch that is a shredded cedar bark. It's really a nice mulch. I really like it because it's an attractive mulch. It makes a long-lasting mulch. It really lasts pretty much all the season. But one thing I don't really like about this mulch in this bed is that it has a tendency to crust over. And so when I have a good layer of mulch on here, water doesn't penetrate very well. And so this is a good mulch to use if you have a drip irrigation system down like I do here, so that the water is underneath the mulch. If you don't, and you're going to be watering from overhead with a sprinkler, then I would recommend a lighter mulch, like a more organic type mulch. But I'm going to come in now and go ahead and mulch this down just a little bit more. Today I am using a different type of mulch though. This is a composted cotton burr mulch. Notice that it's not nearly as woody. It's already decomposed quite a bit. And I'll come in and mulch my plants good with it. That will give them a little bit of a boost of nutrients just from the slow release of anything that's already decomposed in that mulch, but also will allow water to penetrate as I get fall rains or as I do some overhead sprinkling on this. Now there are a lot of different kind of mulches we can use in our flower beds and our shrub beds. you may want to use some sort of more woody mulch like cypress mulch or wood chips. I certainly do not recommend that in a flower bed or a flower border because it just simply does not break down as quickly. And when it does break down, it uses a lot of the nitrogen in the soil from the microorganisms that are utilizing that nitrogen to break down. And so I'd rather save that for my shrub bed or my trees. In fact, I've just got through watering a young newly planted tree very, very well, and I've gone ahead and put cypress mulch down around that. So that's what you probably want to use with in your trees and your shrub beds, and use your lighter mulches that are higher in organic matter in your perennial and your annual bed. Now, another fertilizer choice you might look at for your flower beds, though, is a water-soluble fertilizer. There are a lot of these. I happen to pick this particular one up because it's probably the most readily available at all the big box stores as well as the garden centers. And the reason I like this is that we can give this plant or this bed right here a really quick shot of fertilizer in a almost instant feed. I have a applicator that I can use with this. It simply hooks on to, attaches to my hose. This will automatically monitor the amount of fertilizer and water that it mixes. I simply can just pour that in to my container, screw the top on, and I may have several settings on this that I can use, either a spray or a pattern or a soaker pattern or whatever. It also has a dial where I can feed and water at the same time, or I can water only at the same time, plus an on and off dial. So I really like this particular feeder. And the good thing about it is that you can buy the refills and put in there and use this over and over and over again. So I'm going to move this to where it says feed and water. And actually what happens is the water comes up, mixes down inside the jar here, and automatically mixes this at the right consistency to water this plant, give it some water, a little bit of nutrients through the foliage as well as through the roots, and give it a good quick drink of water to water a little bit of that slow release fertilizer in, plus while at the same time giving it a quick shot of early nutrients. It's sort of like giving it a nutrient fix, so to speak, and then later on coming in and putting that slow release fertilizer into action. So, those are just some options you can use to bring your flower bed, your perennials, your annuals back to life this time of the year and continue some nice flowering of these throughout the remainder of the season. I'm going to go ahead and finish this entire bed out. I'll be cutting back some perennials that I've got in order to not only rejuvenate them and have them to continue to bloom a little bit more, but more importantly to allow them to get some more growth on them to store that food into the roots for next year's growth as well. I really like to use a mixture of both annuals and perennials because the perennials are continuous in blooming throughout the season, giving different colors depending on when their bloom cycle is, and the annuals give some good quick color spots. And if you go ahead and renovate those and take them through a process of rejuvenation, you're going to really have a nice mixed bed here for the remainder of the summer. So I will go ahead and finish this up, and then in addition to that, it will leave me a good spot already pre-prepped, so to speak, if I want some more seasonal color in here later on with pansies or garden mums or something like that. The weather's been hot this summer, but we have been blessed with a lot of good rains. But now is the time to go out and take a good look at your flower beds, your perennials, your annuals, your shrub beds, and see where you can give them a little bit of help along to get them through the remainder of the summer so you can enjoy season-long flowering in your landscape.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.